Dream Victory Apex taking on Team Celestial Being. Curious to see where we're going to open up. It is going to be Graceland Sky City.
Huge.
I think a relatively neutral territory. Good start.
Something that neither team has played in a little while.
Yeah.
They've actually both got only one match on Graceland Sky City. CB's victory came up against DSG, and EVA's was up against Shuffle. So super early on in both teams that actually went out relatively early.
Yeah, not, I think, too determinative. Team EVA, considering the ban, it is going to be the opening Inferno ban. Team CB thinking of a response right now. Such a deep map pool, best of 5. You're going to have to use a lot of different bans, so there's something to be said for potentially saving some impactful bans for later on in the series.
Just taking the Inferno away from Vera is going to be nice. I was talking about some Inferno mechanics with them earlier today, and it is just a striker that you have an incredible depth of knowledge on, especially if you're a player that has made it this far in the tournament. Taking Panther away from Border is also pretty huge, especially on a map like Graceland Sky City. Panther can swing that map wildly, and so I like the heads-up ban. And unfortunately for them, it won't be available later, but you got to take your wins where you have them.
Yeah, I think this is maybe one of the more impactful maps for Panther as a striker with, you know, his focus on getting picks. It makes perfect sense to take it out on Graceland Sky City. Maybe it's a little bit easier to respond to when you're just focusing core objectives, but when the objectives are your life, you know, a Panther is a serious foe on the other side. Let's check the comps. Both teams locking it in. Looks like key difference here. Falcon being hovered for Team EVA. And it's an Elyseness. Actually,
I think it's the
Elyseness on
Hurricane.
both squads. Ah, the Hurricane
Yeah.
for Zero Xenon. Interesting choice to go with the Ultra Heavy build.
Yeah, I think that if you are going Hurricane, we're probably seeing that battle for high ground to be the real relier.
Yeah.
Especially as you can do that on 2 of the 3 possible maps on Graceland Sky City.
Yeah.
Playing for the high ground strat, I could see it working.
And even on this map you're seeing on your screen right now, playing in that low ground under the rocket ship, I think could be a powerful position. It's less aggressive, less dominant, but you can be very tanky in there. Could be hard to pick off. So the ultra heavy setup for CB, we'll see if Team EVA have what it takes to crack the turtle shell.
Falcon instead of Sky Raider for Ken is a real confidence choice as well. If you are picking Falcon, you're reliant on being able to chase somebody down an isolated team, throw CB into chaos, and when I'm looking at CB, I don't expect them this late in the tournament to be a team that ends up getting a little chaotic, that ends up splitting up, especially given their composition. I mean, if CB do split up, it is a sign of much more things going wrong than a single pick.
Yeah, I feel like maybe a Sky Raider would have been better. Already we see the fight breaking out on this ultimate height. Both teams heavily committing. I have to think this does slightly favor Team CB, though, with the Hurricane. See if Team EVA can disrupt that setup before it gets going.
You know the drones are already going to be out for Hurricane, and Team CB, as you called, are just retaining this high ground pressure and forcing EVA down onto the low ground. Zero Xenom getting some good damage in. The question now becomes, how are the picks going to start happening? Because as much as CB have the height, they don't have particularly low health bars on EVA, with the exception of Zhang, who's been focused out and is currently on the healing.
Team CB are electing to just pour on the pressure, dropping to the low ground, giving up height. This is a risky play, but Team EVA are reeling, trying to stay alive, trying to maintain the formation, but the pressure from the Hurricane is really starting to add up. Border, super low HP, falling back, forced out of the first life at the Elyseness.
Stalling things out for now is the Elyseness' job. Watch the re-armor for a little bit later on, but my focus really has to be on the 2 Welkins, on Tuobi and Minsk, who, with the box, can secure some incredible kills. The fact that Veda is applying pressure to Minsk right now could be huge. Taking out the Welkin would be a massive change in the shift of this game.
The Elyseness, Veda, still with those extra lives,
Minsk is
fearlessly
down.
attacking. That's 1 for CB, but they want to pour on the pressure here. More kills certainly available if they can find them. This Hurricane is tanking everything. EVA struggling to do damage. That's another life down for the Elyseness on the EVA.
Nice job by Border, but it will be a 180-second cooldown on the re-armor, so now has to play very carefully around their life. Tuobi gets aggressive, and on the Welkin is still the big initiator, the person that can shift this game always for CB. We did get, on the other side, Minsk back into the game, so that same potential is available for EVA.
Zero Xenon taking a bit of damage on the health bar, but getting supported by the rest of the squad. CB staying healthy, unable to convert into more eliminations, though. Fight is getting very chaotic. EVA trying to rattle this back. Got to remember, Border is going to be low on those extra lives. Elyseness could be a viable target now.
Is he in baby form as well? It looks like it. Going around the side, yes he is. That is a unarmored Aleseness that cannot get back into form for the next couple of seconds. Ken going to be taking up onto the high ground, starting to focus them out. So maybe, just maybe, Ken could be the savior. Border's still falling incredibly low. CB's health bars are full though, and you are seeing the power of their tank composition really come to fruition.
And in the end, it's only one kill, but it's enough to force EVA to somehow turn this around. 2 minutes on the clock now. The question of being able to just tank through this damage is starting to be asked here. CB up 1-0. And Team EVA, we thought they were the favorites in this match, but so far, CB have an early edge.
Zero Zenom just continuing to lay down the pressure with Hurricane as well. Not only defensive, but offensive in a strange way, especially with this split emitter really chunking the rest of EVA, forcing them back. Multiple low health bars, nobody really comfortable stepping up to CB, although Veda is getting a little low, dropping below half HP. I think CB are comfortable.
Yeah, they're starting to push in, looking for some more kills. 3 strikers low in the enemy squad. Now that's another kill for CB. Up 2-0, and EVA still reeling, still struggling to reset, to rearm. Veda charging in, taking a big risk, getting so low. I think has potentially an extra life there. Could be a target, though, getting healed up. CB stabilizing up 3-0, slow and steady, winning the race right now.
Now that Border has fallen, though, we will have another Aleseness with 4 lives coming back in just 2 seconds. The rest of EVA surviving for now, but Zhang is incredibly low. This could be another kill going over to CB, and it is 4-0. CB are up against EVA. The team that dropped them down to the lower bracket is being taken down in the first round on Graceland Sky City.
Yeah, they're being crushed through right now. CB grinding out kill after kill. Only one more to take this first round of Graceland Sky City, and Team Celestial being, they know they've got this one in the bag. No need to be over-aggressive, no need to force anything. At the same time, what a great start for the series from a momentum perspective, right? EVA is coming in off a brutal loss. Celestial being with a few solid wins, and now a dominant round 1 on Graceland Sky City.
It's the perfect setup for Celestial being. The best part is that they get to do this again, or rather, they have the chance to. With 5 kills in their favor now, 12 seconds left. This first round looks to be going in Celestial Being's favor, but because we have to play best 2 out of 3 on Sky City, EVA are going to have to go through this again. And whether or not they're able to adapt is going to be the biggest shift in momentum of this series. Going into Graceland Sky City, you get slammed once, that's okay. You get slammed 2-0'd, and that's really going to hurt your mental against a team that you should know you can beat.
Yeah, they know they can, but I think Team Celestial Being found the strat here. This ultra heavy stack now full committing on the high ground, and I wonder, can Team EVA even hope to challenge this Hurricane over the top, continuing to support the squad?
It's an instant give up of this high ground as
well.
Yeah,
no hope. No hope trading with the main group.
EVA like symbolically went for this, but they're not really going for it.
I mean, and Ken is dumping massive amounts of damage, but I don't think it's enough. I don't think Team Celestial Being are really bothered by this. They're happy to tank through it, and Ken knows he could die at any moment overextending. Without the welcome box, though, maybe willing to take some risks.
Yeah, the thing about Ken in this matchup, and Ken has been a player that, I mean, I've feared throughout the tournament. Very scary to go up against somebody who is so good on Falcon, on Aquila. He's very mechanically talented, and I think that the reality is that compositionally, Falcon just doesn't matter that much this game.
Yeah, they're just annoying. Falcon just flying around like a little fly. I mean, maybe a Sky Raider would have had much more impact against this heavy tank setup from Celestial Being. At the same time, Celestial Being aren't really able to get any eliminations from this position either. So both teams willing to let the clock run low here, I think, and just kind of waiting it out. This could become an overtime game if neither team makes a move.
Ken sees the box cooldown go down, so he can go in for another missile run, and looks like he's going to do just that. Not having to fear any crowd control that would otherwise constrain him. Zero Zenom as well, just completely unconcerned with bouncing off of this high ground. Gets to rejoin his friends, and like you said, we are running down the clock, but this is ultimately a game state that favors CB. Not only do they, that favors CB. Not only do they have height, but they've got time on their side. They're already up around, and they certainly don't have to worry about any kill threats from the side of EVA, especially because there's no Aquila, there's no Inferno in this game.
And with the Hurricane as well, I think they're perfectly happy taking these long-term trades. Ken, at any moment, could be caught, could be punished, and so has to be very cautious. Giving up a kill would be disastrous in this position.
Missiles being absorbed by the Hurricane. Most of the burst just going astray. I am liking what I see from the side of Team CB, who have at least set themselves up being able to, on this high ground position above everyone, but by the same token, EVA are doing a really good job of surrounding them. There's now fire coming in from the sides, and maybe being able to take away at least the power of the Stego in the one-directional support could help. It's a lot of
game
damage.
of patience here, though. Very unlikely that we're going to see any kills come through in this position. It's going to be all about overtime. Maybe Team CB will go for a push when the overtime wick starts burning. But I think EVA know what kind of a massive threat is available if Team Celestial Being get to close range.
Still looking out for that box. It just takes one misstep from Ken. We've seen so often Falcons overextend and just be taken out. Minsk starting to get aggressive as well. There is only a minute left in this game. And if Minsk can make something happen, it'll be great. I think the real scary thing is that Minsk was the first pickoff in the last round on Graceland Sky City. And you don't want to become that again for your team. You don't want to be the reason that you lose your first round on Graceland Sky City.
And Team CB falling back a little bit here. Catch potentially for Border, looking to get set up, but is low. He's getting a lot of focus fire from the main group and forced out of the Elysian form. So small advantage earned for Team CB. The patience from Celestial Being has paid off for the moment.
They'll still have the chance to return. Ken again playing with fire, but we've now got just 1 minute left, and Team EVA, they've got a lot of space. CB have moved down onto the low ground and look pretty unassailable. That does mean that EVA get to close the gap. It does mean they get to pick a close range fight, and they actually find one. Veda could go down here, and Team CB, if they lose just one kill now, it could be unrecoverable.
With the clock low, one elimination very likely could decide this. Team CB have really found a nook and a cranny that they want to play comfortably, but EVA are hitting them from all sides. Do they really have the durability to survive through this? For the moment, the answer is yes, but will that last?
Border gets staggered like a million times trying to get into close range, and I can't help but think the same would happen to Minsk, but it's 15 seconds left, and something has got to happen. An egg on one side or another has got to break. Chuobi still playing on the low ground, has plenty of opportunity to make something happen, and will jump up onto the high ground, trapping folks with the box, spinning to win, but not quite getting it off. Border again low in the baby Elysian form, and we're into overtime, baby. It is time.
Chuobi very low, getting cared by the supports, though. Focus onto that Welkin. Minsk now back into the fight. CB struggling to heal, struggling to keep these engagements alive.
Chuobi very low.
I don't know who got that first pick.
Chuobi ends up going down. And that means that we are going to be taking this to a third round.
That was a painful round for all of us here at home, watching the turret farm. This round, though, I think could be a lot more chaotic, potentially with a lack of ultimate height. And I think Team Celestial Being are going to be kicking themselves for backing off that position earlier in the round. Coming back to the bunker allowed EVA to really take control of the map, really flank them from all sides, and start to punish with damage. And they're trying to run it back here, hitting from the high ground, putting the pressure on Team CB.
I think your struggle here is that as Team CB, your composition isn't meant to function the best on this map. It's not that it doesn't, but
the other two were your strongest. So this is, I agree, potentially an uphill battle. And I think EVA are starting to get confident. They're starting to bully back Celestial Being right now.
Minsk getting in the middle of you and spinning is certainly a sign of confidence, if nothing else. Chuobi answering right back, though, and I'm not seeing any health bars drop particularly low, especially with Zero Zenom able to reset with the Hurricane, keep the team alive while Lumine does their work.
Yeah, the threat of this Hurricane is significant. Minsk being boxed, though. That was Border. Chuobi loses the fluid armor, has to fall back. Team Celestial Being are reeling a little bit. Each time they try to make a move, it's getting shut down by EVA, who are dominating the high ground, hitting from all sides. Playing with a lot of confidence right now.
Remember that lost condition as well. CB, they've got a great composition, but if they split up, if they make one move that isn't together, that's where the composition of EVA can really jump on them like a sack of bricks. I do not want to see Border all over you while you've got Ken on a Falcon gutting you down.
Xenon here, looking to get active, looking to put some damage down. We know what a threat this CV team is if they can find one vulnerable target to lock down. And so one mistake from EVA with all this poke pressure could be disastrous. They need to be extremely clean. May want to run the clock down to overtime again.
Got to take a page out of Mr. John Welkin's book in his interview yesterday, talking about how important it is to just be boxing problems on the Welkin as much as defense is important, especially now when you've got so much cover. Offense can be just as much, if not more so. You don't have to worry about fire from the top or the bottom. It is just for the sides, and that means that the box may very well be better used, getting aggressive and trying to find a pick on someone like Ken.
Yeah, and Minsk is getting a lot of poke pressure. Not normally what we see Welkin do, but contributing well in this instance. Forces a defensive Welkin box out of Celestial Being. Stego Smoke popped as well. A lot of defense, but Border popped out of the suit. It's happened last map, though, and they were still able to get the win. Starting to get risky, get aggressive in Baby Elyseness.
That's one life down. It's not going to be enough to really make or break this game just yet. It's got to be multiple times on Elyseness, and you see Border actually sticking in the tinier form for right now, knowing that you have a little bit of flexibility and some stall that you can throw in for your team later on. Decoy drone out by Zero Xenom. In addition to keeping the team healthy, and we're seeing Team EVA split up, but CB don't really have an ability to punish.
CB trying to make some moves, but that is splitting their formation just a little bit. So far, they haven't been able to connect onto any clean kills. Now, attacking into the high ground. Zheng Xiao in the crosshairs, but that's the Tricera. So hard to shut down. Tuobi very low, in trouble potentially on this Welkin. Could be being targeted. The rest of the squad trying to coalesce around him, keep him alive with the help of that Stego. So far, so good. For Celestial Being, the clock now really getting close to a minute.
Once it does, I mean, we saw how brutal overtime can be. It's difficult to control your fate when it does come down to just one kill, one misstep, and teams get so aggressive. EVA actually executed really well in the overtime when they had height advantage. And guess what they've got right now, Jake? They've got height advantage should they want to.
Yeah. Team CB, though, I think they're ready for the drops. They're ready to take these engagements should they be brought their way. Ken also has to be very cautious, right? He's been careful on the Welkin so far, hasn't given up any pickoffs. He's going to have to maintain that, especially with 30 seconds on the clock. Seems like both teams content to let this go to OT. EVA don't want to make any mistakes. I think this is a difficult compositional matchup for them, but they're playing it masterfully.
This can feel like a bit of a coin flip when you choose to go into overtime, when it does just become about the first misstep and maybe just about the first bit of damage that ends up landing. You could be seconds behind on another kill, and it's not going to matter because the first one is all that it comes down to in overtime. Ken does commit into the low ground, but he instantly gets boxed up, trapped up. Border in here with him. Border seemingly able to escape. Ken got low, so did Border, but EVA haven't dropped a member just yet, and in 4 seconds we're going into overtime. Border's health bar is extremely low, and that's got to be worrying for EVA.
Big damage from the main group, forces another life out of Elyseness. Celestial Being still strong. Veda low as well, and now they're committing heavy, taking into this frontline trade. This is the advantage for Celestial Being, but will they drop a player before they can find that kill? Veda has to be so cautious, does not want to become a liability for the squad on Elyseness.
Still has the airdrop available, so Veda, despite the low health bar, is going to be surprisingly tanky should he choose to be, but it's about when you choose to pop that stall right now. Minute 30 left in overtime still till things start to become especially dicey. And we're seeing Welkin boxes thrown out everywhere, but none of them aggressively anymore, especially after that close call that EVA had with Border earlier.
Both teams now licking their wounds, able to get that soft reset, get their cooldowns back and start to reset.
Every time I see Ken dip in here, I'm sweating, knowing that Ken could be the reason that EVA go on. It could be the reason they get shut down in this first round. Huge correction either way from EVA has happened in this game. Being able to keep this from being a 2-0 with a nice clutch last round and maybe the chance to do the very same thing here. They do get aggressive. Minsk in the faces of CB and still managing to stay at least above half health right now. The question is, can he get back out? Did he get back out?
We have to wait and see. Oh, Team Celestial Being managed to get the first burst off there. That was ridiculously too close to call.
I mean, that's the danger of overtime. I respect that you went for it, but we called it just before we went into overtime. When both teams are so happy to handshake that, you are kind of coin flipping around.
Yeah, both teams, I think, nervous, right? No one wants to make a mistake. No one wants to be the team that gets caught making that first pickoff, and so they go to overtime. But I think, honestly, Celestial Being had a stronger composition in that game. I think that, like, their heavy tank setup, although they made a mistake, I think, in the second round, falling back, that allowed Team EVA to, like, fully surround them and to hit them from all sides. I think they went a little bit too all-in going into that tiny corner.
Yeah.
However, on the third map, they have a few options how to rotate in and out. Every time they get flanked, they have an escape path. And so I think they were able to play that a little bit more strongly. I don't think I've ever seen, though, the Graceland Sky City go into the full overtime where I guess the fog starts to burn them down when they get that deep in overtime. I didn't know that would happen. So somebody's got to die at some point in Graceland Sky City.
Yeah. So, even when you're having a fun time, even when you're managing to keep it 0-0, you got to get to the next round. Unfortunately, we got that mechanic in there, so everybody, we do get to move on, and CB get to claim an important victory for them. It may not have been the crushing victory that I expected after the first round, but a win is a win.
It's something, right? And for a team, I mean, CB, Celestial Being lost last time they faced EVA.
Yeah.
And so there's something to be said for maybe changing it up strategically, going for this extreme team play heavy style. However, I feel that maybe they've shown their hand just a little bit. If this is what they want, I mean, this is like a very, very Palm Bay composition that you want to run. Now you become potentially vulnerable to some striker bans, where I feel EVA are still a little bit more wide open as far as the strategies they can employ. They didn't go super hard committed one direction. They still have Ken on the signature Falcon, very comfortable, very mobile. And so, regardless of what map they go to, I feel like they could easily adapt that composition. When you go for this quad ultra heavy with the Lumine Elise Nace, I mean, that's like the end of the road for committing down on the team play style. You can go to Palm Bay, but I feel something like a Triceraban would really put some sand in the gears.
Yeah, I'd agree. And now that you know that this is something that, even on Graceland Sky City, a map that doesn't necessarily dictate that you go that heavy tank style.
Yeah.
If you know, as EVA, this is what CB is default doing, it must be what they're comfortable with, you're right. Like, the opportunity to target that out really becomes interesting. Now, I do wonder whether we are going to go to Palm Bay because, again, EVA, just from a purely statistical perspective, don't have that many wins on it in the tournament. They've 100% lost it in this tournament, but that was up against Anubis. So how much is that really going to shake EVA's confidence? I don't know.
Manbu really profiting in that ultra long trade, and oh, look at that damage taken from Zero Xenon.
Yeah.
He's taking 6 million damage. All right, yeah, no, it's just a day at the office for Hurricane.
Yeah.
Taking 6 mil. 006. That's how I do it.
I'm checking the damage numbers right now. I'm really surprised to see Hunter as high in the damage as they are, just given that I thought Ken with the free bombing runs like every 30 seconds was going to be topping damage charts. He's still got a lot of damage. Somewhere in the in the 4 mils is good, but it's not the 6 mil that Hunter's got.
I'm not gonna lie to you, that was a painful round of Graceland Sky City for all of us here in the broadcast at home. We're feeling for you, but that was it. We can only play Graceland Sky City one time based on the format. MVP is gonna be Toby. 2 kills.
Sure.
That was 2 rounds.
And I mean,
that's 2 complete round victories. Both with all 3 rounds were won with 1 kill. Yeah. Am I right? Like,
well,
the first round. Okay, no, the first
one got pretty.
That was like a different series. That was so long ago.
Like, this is like,
I forgot about the first round.
His whole KDA is basically the first round and then 1 kill. Like,
yep.
Yeah. And the last kill. It's like first round. Anyway,
you could have fooled me.
Yeah. On the Welkin, I think having the kill involvement is indicative of you playing correctly and CB's composition really functioning correctly. You are also going to be really reliant always on the Welkin to set up the kills so that you can knock him down. It's a good sign for CB, and again, very happy for them that they managed to walk away with this first round win. I think that if I'm EVA, I want to take this over to Krobsinkel because in Krobsinkel, it's still a mechanical map. I can showcase the ways that we're able to maybe outplay you on Ken. We also have a better game plan, and even better, you've actually found a win on it before.
Yeah, and Celestial Being, they have to change up. There's no way to play the quad tank setup on Krobsinkel. I mean, you need to split, you need to play multiple objectives, or else Falcon's just going to be backcapping you all day long. And so I think Celestial Being, I like that for EVA. To go to Krob, you've won it before, you can do it again. Strategically, it's strong for you. And even if it's like a Falcon ban, you could just bring out the Sky Raider, you know, or the Aquila. Like, there's so many different flex options. Eye of Mizra is the choice. And then again, we are going to 5 maps. So you could also think, you know what, we can win Eye of Mizra too, as long as it's like one of these multiple objective maps. I think Palm Bay was the one that we weren't ever going to see picked out of EVA. I think that's something for CB to pick later on in the series if they take a map loss. But to be fair, 3 map types have the multiple objectives, the split fighting.
And Eye of Mizra also benefiting from the same thing as Crop Sinkhole, in that EVA have beaten CB on it before. It was one of the 0-2 that they served up to CB, so bit in the confidence pack back here.
Aquila is going to be banned out. Certainly a factor that EVA could rely on. Let's see what the responsive ban is. Thinking about the Elysinus.
I mean, I don't mind taking the Elysinus. I do think that if they ban Elysinus, Border's probably going Panther.
That's a good point, right? With no Elysinus to parry you and mark the Panther. Maybe the Panther could get active. I think also the extreme mobility the Panther has could be valuable on this map. However, Panther is still a risky choice, right? As much as it could be a pocket pick for Border, I think we've just seen too many games where the Panther has fallen flat for me. I think EVA, maybe they want to stick with something a little bit more tried and true, and that's definitely the Inferno.
Yeah, Inferno, I think a very different play style for Border, which actually in this series is going to concern me a little bit. I'm willing to be a believer because Border has shown incredible skill on the very challenging melee-oriented strikers, but Inferno is a very different skill set, and I can't lie, if you are a Team EVA fan, this should have you sitting on the edge of your seat a little bit, seeing how well Team EVA can work with this, since normally they are reliant on the double melees to get up in your face. Now they've just got Minsk, and of course they're going to have Ken on Falcon, but it's not quite the same level of disruption that getting staggered constantly brings.
Yeah, Ken's Falcon going to be taking on Veta's Sky Raider. So that duel, I think, is going to be particularly important. Falcon maybe a little bit more mobile, a little bit more able to push that risk profile. But Sky Raider offers, I think, a little bit more team utility. And so it doesn't surprise me, really, right? To see Celestial being doubling down on the team-focused play, valuing that AoE, the disruption. I want to see them fight together and fight strong. And for EVA, I think more of the same. Surround, hit from all angles. Based on that last map, this is a team that I think stylistically should be very comfortable on Eye of Mizra.
Really excited for Manbu's Inferno as well. Manbu's such a good sniper and is normally on the Aquila, especially on this map. I think there's a chance that we could just get Manbu diffed on this map with the Inferno.
That's a good point. Yeah, Manbu, Inferno is big. We load in now to Eye of Mizra on board with the flyers of both squads.
Going with the Falcon into the Sky Raider, a little more team utility for Ken, or rather for Veta. And I don't mind it. I think it aligns more with CD's values as a team.
Oh, Ken, he's getting risky with it. Playing very confidently on this Falcon. Welcome box is deployed for poke, and that's going to mean really no one to stop Ken of really getting in, getting wild with it.
Until B spawns, it is just going to be people throwing a bunch of garbage at each other. Like, right now...
Shades of Graceland.
Yeah.
We've been here before.
It's just cooldowns at the moment. And, you know, maybe it turns into a pick. It probably doesn't. But with B just seconds away from spawning, that's where things are going to get really interesting and where you will see teams have to take space, be forced into it. And I'd like to see Team EVA make that first move since they do have a little bit of priority. I know that it's technically risky, but the composition should be okay to survive it. Keeping our eyes on Border as well. Big question marks around this guy on the Inferno. Very talented player, but is this going to match up with EVA's patented double melee style?
Picking up the key is huge. Now priority, straight to the point. Minsk charging all the way through, and EVA going to get an early advantage, going to secure some capture time. Will their teammates be punished, though, sending 2 to the objective for fighting now? Celestial being just going to play for the kills.
We did mention how EVA had the terrain advantage. Even so, I'm really surprised to see Minsk getting away with that key capture. It is probably the easiest 30 points that I have seen, and up to a nothing lead as there haven't been any kills that favor CB just yet. Maybe I spoke too soon as Hunter does go down, but that's an instant trade onto Twoby as well. The Welkin falling on Team CB. So less pick for a few seconds, 13 of them in fact, and maybe that's the chance for Team EVA to get a few more kills on the board.
Yeah, I'm not sure it came in fast enough because EVA, they got that cap. They traded 1 for 1. In the end, they're going to be feeling pretty good about this. Minsk on the Welkin wants to get in, wants to shut down Manbu's Inferno, but proving to be difficult with those duplicates online.
Looking at point A, we will be getting a little closer to everyone, and that's where I think Sky Raider is really going to take off ahead. If you are CB, I'm focusing especially on point A and the close range because your flyer should be getting a lot more value here. I'm already seeing Zhang ready to pick up the key when it spawns, but has to relocate. Even on this Tricera, you can't live forever.
Struggling now, that pickoff onto Minsk is big. Without a Welkin, fighting this in closed space is particularly difficult. You mentioned that in Sky Raider has huge impact in these small spaces as well. So Team Celestial being looking for the key grab, trying to find it, but Manbu strikes back. We talked about the Manbu factor on this map. Here it is coming into play. EVA, they've been struggling though. They can't quite pick up this key.
Taking out Zhang is big, but maybe not big enough to actually grab the key. We're going to try and go for it now, but constantly getting interrupted, and CB are grouped up in a big way. EVA trying to punish, but Manbu unable to actually find any damage through the gas. So it'll be a little while longer as the gas dissipates. Right now, it seems like we're in the same position as we were at the start of the round, just a little closer. Throwing spam into each other with a lot more ability to actually pick up kills, especially as Border gets aggressive, really on this Inferno, taking a huge risk.
Willing to push the limit. Minsk low on the Welkin, does not want to be focused down. Getting a bit of peel from the Lumine, looking to get back into the engagement as quickly as possible. Once again, Manbu dumps that massive laser, trying to burst down this main group. EVA, a couple players dropping low. Hunter down. Critical pickoff now. Opens up the fight for Celestial Being.
And that's going to be 3 unanswered kills that Celestial Being have gotten, but no objectives to actually speak of for it. You can, in theory, win off of kills on Eye of Misra, but at this rate, that's not what's going to be happening. You're going to need a few keycaps at least to make it work.
I mean, C is about to come up. This is getting wild. I wonder if we won't see Ken just dip out from this fight and go grab an objective. Manbu finds another kill, and EVA are dropping one by one, but so far Celestial Being haven't been able to get the clean-up team fight they're hoping for.
EVA have committed 2 people onto C. Make that 3. They are ditching A almost entirely, playing for the stall, and instead focusing on being able to take out C and the few members that are there. As kills start coming in, we should see both caps at the same time. One over here on point C, and the other over at A. Sky Raider stalling this out for a very long time, making Minsk's life difficult, but Twobi is going to go down, so it is going to be the 1-for-1, and should be able to get the cap, and at the same time, we should be seeing the exact same thing from EVA, who come from C.
Beta in trouble. Beta being harassed by the Welkin, though, gets to that Stego smoke, able to reset and fly out of there. Hunter now trying to take position on the cap. Both teams coming to deliver a key at the same time, bringing the fight to one location. Team CB, they're already down 1 striker. There's a second out of the fight. They get their spawn, but a clear advantage for Team EVA is developing on Eye of Misra.
Now we're starting to look at B as well. Manbu going to be focused down, could be bursted here, and dodges
so
just
low.
in time, but he's 1 HP. Manbu somehow alive and being hunted down by Border, who on the Inferno really wants to finish the kill. Ends up getting it with a snipe through a Welkin box. Nicely done, but it is still 64-37 as EVA retain their lead.
Key spawn coming up very soon. EVA, they would love to get a team wipe right now, but do they want to push their luck or fall back to the objective with that key almost online? Twobi challenging the enemy Welkin, fighting at close range, but Minsk is unafraid, willing to double down and take that brawl.
Just got a lot of responsibility on these Welkins to constantly be playing the objective, but with Twobi having a lower health bar, that exposes him to a lot of risk. Being taken down as a Welkin could be disastrous here, and Twobi goes down. CB at a huge disadvantage over at point B as the storm comes in.
Oh, what a dangerous time for the storm to come in. This chaos could help Team CB navigate through, but the kills are still coming through despite the lack of lock-ons. EVA with raw skill are still finding the pickoffs that they need to secure a decisive advantage here on Eye of Misra. One after another, players dropping, still unable to pick up that key though. Celestial Being brawling well despite being down numbers.
Lumine in the storm, basically just a gas spot right now, so it is nice to see them constantly going for the pickups on this key, but not able to find them just yet. The storm should be expiring the next 45 seconds or so, maybe a little sooner, as time does fly when you're having fun, but looking at the way that CB are doing right now, I got to imagine they're pretty stressed out and still trying to grab the key. But it's almost impossible with so much focus on B, and especially with Twobi back in the game on Welkin for CB. it's an uphill battle to even get close to the key.
Minsk is so low on Welkin for EVA. He's really unable to come into this fight. Needs to get Sport. And Team EVA, they lose one. Two other strikers extremely low HP. This could be a moment for Celestial Being to re-secure control of this game.
Minsk has gone down. I'm looking at the kill feed, and Hunter, Ken, and
Four
Key
down.
go down as well. That is huge. This could turn into a double cap for Team CB.
Celestial Being could be making the comeback right now on Eye of Mizra. EVA down to their last striker. It's Zheng Xiao trying to deny some of these caps. The Tricera a difficult kill, but 1v6, surely even Tricera couldn't tank through that.
Yeah, this is totally doable. Veda should be able to cap this key on Skyraider. That's, I mean, you're not stopping a Skyraider from capping, especially on Eye of Mizra. He's going to get out of here. This is going to turn into a double cap for CB, and it's going to push them within a few points at the end of the game.
They're going to get a massive advantage here. This could be the game. Skyraider dancing. Veda knows all he has to do is survive. It'll be enough with this one more cap. Celestial Being could be going up 2-0. The underdogs in this best of 5 now at a clear advantage on series point after losing in their last matchup against EVA. Now they're on the precipice of booking their ticket to the grand finals.
If this was a best of 3, as CB were shut down in earlier, they would already have won. What incredible growth CB have undergone to not only win on Graceland Sky City, not a map of their choosing, but to then take this win in a map where EVA served them a loss in earlier rounds. That is really impressive.
And that map was looking grim, right? It felt like EVA had the edge. It felt like those early fights went pretty decisively their way. And then Team Celestial Being, they weathered the storm, literally and figuratively, with a huge comeback victory on Eye of Mizra. I mean, comebacks aren't so common here in Mecha Break. Usually we see a team get an advantage, start to pressure the opposing team's spawn timers, and maybe snowball the game out of control from there. And so it really takes a solid squad to be able to endure that pressure and come out on top on Eye of Mizra.
And most of the time when we're looking at these games, I have a pretty... I'm looking at it, you can see everything that's going on, you understand how the team fights are happening. I want to go back and see that team fight again, because 4 kills happening within 10 seconds of each other is very, very rare in Mecha Break.
It's the storm, right? Like, that storm adds so much chaos.
Yeah.
And for both teams, right? They're both taking damage, they're unable to communicate or see things nearly as well. Puts a lot of pressure on the human element, right? Are people just willing, can they remain calm? Can they make the right decisions? And it was Team Celestial Being who outfought in that scenario.
Yeah, and that's twice now. Now that we were on Graceland Sky City, which is all about team fighting, and now we've gone to Eye of Mizra, and off the back of a team fight, they're able to win. I mean, I think we're starting to construct a win condition for Celestial Being, and I would not be selecting Palm Bay Harbor if I were EVA.
That's the scary thing now because, right, you've got to reverse sweep for EVA. And we know that's possible because this team has won decisively over Celestial Being before. But at this point in the series, we've got to start asking the question, is Team EVA mental boomed? I mean, they just took a brutal 3-0, right? That beatdown from Anubis, frankly, wasn't a close game. They got smoked. And now they have to come in and play another best of 5. Their backs are against the wall. The team that you had just beaten, you thought would be an easy win, is now up 2-0 over you. What can Team EVA do to bring it back here?
Yeah, there is a lot of work to be done, and it's tough because it's almost impossible to get directly inside the mind of a competitor and know what's going on. I will say that momentum, like we've been emphasizing, does play a big part. A lot of this for EVA could come down to picking a map that maybe is more in their favor. Now, I thought that would be Eye of Mizra. I'd like to see them continue with this trend and maybe go to something like a Krob Sinkhole.
I think Krob is your last stand. And, you know, the Aquila ban was used in the last map. Yeah. So we could go to Krob. You could have the Aquila. That could be a strong point for EVA. Got to give credit. Look at Ann. 0 deaths on this map. I think that's such a huge factor when your Luminae's able to go deathless on a map as chaotic as Eye of Mizra, as vulnerable to getting picked off as Eye of Mizra. I mean, this speaks volumes to why Celestial Being have endured through that storm as their Luminae constantly pumping the heels. No downtime.
Not to get ahead of ourselves, but that could be the making of an MVP for this round. Absolutely.
Seriously.
Yeah, we've seen. Hey, there we go. There we go.
I mean, the repair gap was huge. Like, I think it was almost 300,000 repair gap. And that comes, I think, from the increased uptime from not going down at all. And Celestial Being, I mean, there's so much pressure on the Luminaes at this level of play, right? One mistake could cost your team the game. And for Ant to make 0, I mean, I think that's, like, frankly, I think if you lose Luminae one time, I think EVA would have been able to close out Eye of Mizra.
Yeah, when you are down that big team fighting tool, especially when we were looking at the center of the map being a big focus for both the first key to spawn at B and the second key to spawn at B. These are just huge, wide open team fights that are going on for minutes at a time, and Illuminate can easily be picked off, especially when you're going against somebody like Minsk, who actually had that turned around on them. Minsk has been such a powerful Welkin throughout this entire tournament, but especially the last series up against CB. I mean, Minsk was boxing and slamming people over and over, and it's Minsk that was getting picked off and not finding picks onto people like M.
And we're talking about playing against one of the strongest Falcon players in the tournament. Ken has been fantastic on the Falcon across many, many series, has had huge success, but Team Celestial Being have endured. They have been able to tolerate that without losing their Illuminate in critical moments.
I will say the Falcon on this map, I thought was going to be able to do a lot more, especially with the swap up. I also, I don't think that the Border Inferno was necessary. I think we probably could have gone something else. Inferno is a good pick, to be sure.
Yeah.
But I'm not looking at this and going, okay, well, Border needs to be banned on Inferno, for example. I think this is something you can realistically let through, and it didn't make a huge difference for Team EVA in the team fights.
Yeah, these Infernos were able to be dealt with, which is surprising because, you know, throughout the tournament, we've seen so many Infernos have huge games, make decisive advantages, you know, blow open some of these heavier tanking setups. But Celestial Being, they've weathered that storm. They've endured it all, survived through very, very scary, threatening team fights. And then you get to the situation where, I mean, I think the Sky Raider also really paid dividends. Feels like if you're able to just survive the threat that is Falcon, then Sky Raider just gets a little bit more done, especially when we look back to this fight in the highlight of fighting indoors. Them winning that fight, getting that key secured for Veda is what ultimately leads to the victory.
And stylistically, Sky Raider is just a really good fit with what CB want to accomplish. If they want a team fight, if they want to be big, beefy lads,
I wonder if you ban it.
I think you ban it. I think you have to ban it.
And we're going to Cape Blanc. That is surprising. I mean, in fairness, you're going to play the next 3 maps. Maybe this is just from a team perspective, what they're most comfortable on, where they feel most confident. There's something to be said for just going with what you are the best at rather than being worried about the matchup, worried about your opponent. And they banned Sky Raider, so attacking what has been a real source of strength for Team CB.
That's smart.
Celestial Being thinking about the Falcon ban?
I don't think the Falcon has been a big enough problem for you.
Agree.
But
if you're going to ban it, though, maybe here is the place. And they do ban it here, so they're saying, hey, you know what? We can't have a flyer, you can't have a flyer. There's something to be said for just leveling the playing field.
And I mean, it's interesting that Veda, for as confident as they are on Sky Raider, doesn't also want to flex into Falcon, just to answer that. But like you said, I mean, it's not a bad ban. Falcon is really strong on this map, or has the potential to be really strong on this map, and if there's nothing you'd rather take away, I think that's fine. I'm really interested in what Border will lock in here. Inferno has been really good and very strong on this map. I think you can get just as much, if not more, done on Alisnes, especially if you already know that your pilot is going to be Border. He's so good on these melees, and I have to say I'm shaken by the fact that he's giving them up here in critical moments for EVA.
Yeah, it's a challenging call. I think Inferno has been solid on this map at denying some of the captures with the ability to just like pump damage from range. The only real issue for you is that Welkin drone swarm. However, I feel, you know, Inferno with that massive AoE can sometimes deny the captures even when no one else could, when no one else could successfully get damage in. We've seen Infernos have really huge games just playing the skybox. However, Aquila's on both teams, and I think that's going to be a key factor here on Cape Blanc Observatory. Aquila, not only a huge threat that can find opening picks and break things open for the squad, but also potentially a vulnerable piece, vulnerable to attack from the opponents.
And I mean, if we had a Falcon, that would be crazy. So, I mean, seeing the Aquila pickups here does make that a lot safer as well, especially since we're not seeing that much Alisnes. We're not seeing that many backline divers, period. Both teams are just going to have to tank a lot of damage from Inferno and from Aquila because there's not much that you can do about it.
Celestial Being, I think, has been outstratting so far in the series. And so there's something to be said for Team EVA just saying, hey, you know what? Let's take the mirror match. Let's make this a question of deathmatch, of execution, where maybe they are a little bit more confident.
Ken facing off against Manbu from the skies. Certainly a matchup to watch, even if they're not shooting directly at each other. It's a matter of who can get more done.
Both teams just content to trade cooldowns in the early game, waiting for that objective spawn to make an aggressive move.
I don't expect A to be capped immediately, but I'm looking at Team CB and they're on it like a
diving
sack
right
of
in
bricks,
on
bro.
They're like gambling on this, willing to take a risk. Hold on.
Are they doing it? Are they doing it?
Cap from Twobi?
That's got to be the fastest A Corite cap that I've seen this tournament.
It cost Manbu his life, but I think that's a trade that Celestial Being will be happy to take. And they trade it right back as well in terms of striker kills. Border continuing to pour on the pressure, would love to find some kind of an opener, find another kill here. Veda trading blows in the sky with Minx. Now in the sights of Team EVA. This Inferno, always a huge threat, one that has to be managed. Veda going to fall back to regroup with the rest of the squad as the next drill spawns.
I was talking with Veda about the Inferno earlier, and it's nice to see him using the same strats that he was talking about, just toggling the 3 for a second, a little bit more survivability for the Inferno, but not wasting it, wanting to keep the cooldown for in case he gets jumped on by a Welkin. He has to play very defensively on such a squishy striker, especially when you're essentially backlining on it.
Team CB, once again, heavy commitment right on the objective, and they get the cap right from under EVA's nose. Extreme Victory Apex are crumbling. Team Celestial Being on their way to a 3-0 route victory and a ticket to the grand finals. Do Team EVA have what it takes to come back in the series?
Veda is destroying right now. Twobi
oh,
just...
no.
I mean,
no way. Okay, he stopped.
This is like peak Welkin gameplay, is box the objective, take the objective. It may be a little too much. Twobi did get too aggressive and is going to go down, but I gotta respect the hustle because it's got CB up 3-0.
They're just willing to take their chances. And I think Team EVA are struggling under that kind of pressure. The trade goes back, so one striker down on both squads. However, a second pick found by EVA, +1 player advantage. Can they leverage it? That Stego smoke keeping everyone alive. Border now over the top onto Zero Xenon. This could be a wipe now. Team EVA really starting to pick off striker after striker. Celestial Being gonna need to fall back and lick their wounds. But Manbu still brawling on this Aquila. Trades it back onto EVA, and so keeping this into a real bloodbath score, 3-1 with EVA grabbing a point.
It's so weird to see the way these Corite extractors are being taken. It's unlike any other game that I've seen in the last 3 days, because we seem to be way more focused on the team fight than the extractors. Those are going down almost as afterthoughts. Manbu falling right now actually turns the tides in favor of Team EVA for just a little while longer, and that'll be enough for the the next Corite extractor to spawn.
Hilltop under control for Celestial Being. Will that be enough to win the damage trade? Veda over the top on the Inferno, pumping damage. Another quick cap. Attempted 90%, but just quite... Oh, no, just barely got the cap, actually. EVA starting to even this up. Border finds a pick onto Ann. We talked about Ann making no mistakes, but there is one major one. Celestial Being without their healer. Will they be able to stay alive in this engagement?
You know who's playing really well this game is Border. I am loving the amount of damage that he's put out. Unfortunately, yeah, sorry about that, Border. Gets taken out almost as soon as we mention him. But we'll be back in just 12 seconds, bolstering Team EVA once again. This is a temporary advantage for CB, who are, again, right on over that Corite extractor. They are going to get piled on, however, by EVA. So both teams, I think, recognizing the meta that's developed within this particular game. It is get on top of that Corite extractor as fast as possible.
That's allowing Infernos to do monstrous damage, though. Tricera low, under pressure, being focus fired down. Hunter, though, finds Zex first. 2 pickups by Hunter. Celestial Being on the cusp of 2 striker kills. Couldn't find either and dropped 2 themselves. EVA going for this cap. Wanted to even the scoreboard. Can't quite get it just yet. But a major player advantage starting to build.
Pick by Manbu.
And finds assist there as well, but 3 down now for CB. Surely they can't fight this out.
I'm still just watching Veda from the sky. You can tell because it's like a disco ball in the air, just raining down damage. Same thing happening on both sides, but Veda has been managing cooldowns really well so far. Hunter, unfortunately, going to be the victim of that as Zero Xenon takes them out 3-3, and we get nearly another dismantle, but it's canceled just in the nick of time, and Ann is lucky to get out with their life. Team CB will end up capping the extractor, and it is just as we're about to get the next.
Oh, Team EVA were on the cusp of something huge there, but they couldn't quite get it done. Celestial Being snatched victory from the jaws of defeat. Now multiple strikers down for Team EVA. Border falling back, trying to get the reset, but Aquila locked on, chasing down the frag.
I mean, this split here is deadly. Key is certainly going to be taken out next, especially when you got Manbu hovering on you like this. There's just no safe place to be. Veda the one to actually claim the kill itself. But now with 2 people down, Team EVA are at a severe disadvantage with Team CB about to cap their 5th Core Extractor.
It's a scary place to be. Players down, a key objective online. It's capped for Celestial Being. Team EVA electing to regroup. I think that's a wise choice here. Staggering more players would be extremely costly. Celestial Being, though, having an early setup on this Core Extractor before it comes up. For the rest of this map, that's been a huge advantage. Border here, though, trying to flank, trying to stop that cap with the flanking damage.
Welkenbox was a little bit early, so the defense faltering from Team CB. Watch it go up again off the point. And Ken is just popping up for these pot shots, but Manbu dialed in on taking out the opposition sniper. Border going to drop down low here once again, just trying to deny the cap on B, but through the Stego smoke is having a difficult time actually doing so. Needs to drop down and yes, get a little more active. Spray and pray as Border finally does so from ground level. There will be no capturing on his watch as EVA again lose 2. They trade 1 out, so CB will be missing a striker for now. That pilot going to come back shortly. Maybe the opportunity to cap for CB.
3 strikers down for EVA. That's a 4th. Celestial Being on the cusp of making it to the grand finals, of claiming the throne as the best team from China here in Zhuhai. They get another extractor, next one to spawn very soon, and it's a rout. Team EVA, 3 strikers alive. They have to back out. They have to regroup. Under so much pressure right now is Border, being assaulted by this Welkin, in so much trouble, getting chain stunned and cleaned off the map. EVA, this is their last chance to stay alive in the tournament, but Celestial Being finishing them off.
This looks like a foregone conclusion right now. Large Core Extractor going to be 2 points. Large Core Extractor capture means that CB take a clean wipe up against EVA. What a reversal of fates from the upper bracket to the lower bracket. CB grow and decimate the opponents that put them here.
I was worried that this match would be a rehash of the last time these 2 squads faced off. EVA won dominantly. But here, Celestial Being comes with a new strategy, a new look, and a new determination. They're going to be going to the grand finals. It'll be a new team challenging Anubis. It's time for Celestial Being to get their shot.
And this is now, we can say unequivocally, the best team coming out of China, at least here. As this pre-launch invitational has given us the best looks at these players, and especially at the growth that CB have undergone. To have just surpassed EVA, I will say, I've got a lot of hope for their next matchup as well. I know that Anubis is going to be a tough opponent, and I would still say that Anubis are the favored ones. I mean, they came out of the winner's bracket after all, but to see the reversal that CB have been able to put up to EVA, and the fact that it wasn't a close game, really inspires a lot of hope for what they're able to accomplish now that we know they're going to the grand finals.
You can see the relief, the excitement on the faces of these players from Team Celestial Being able to claim a top 2 finish. Still fighting for that top 1, still fighting for the grand finals as they're going to go up against Team Anubis next. And maybe it was just fated to be this way. The best team from China, the best team from Japan clashing next in the grand finals. But first, we've got to talk about this lower bracket final. I mean, thinking about that final map, who do you have in the cards for MVP?
Oh, man. I wasn't even thinking about it. I was just so shocked by what was actually happening. I think you could go Manbu because of the snipes, but I almost want to go Tuobi. Just on the Welkin, there's an incredible amount of value that Welkin can provide here. There's also, I think, a world where we give it to Ann again. I think Ann got a lot of those captures on Lumine.
Ann got, like, weirdly a lot of kills that game. Like, I know so quite a few last hits from the Lumine, so pretty surprising stuff, but I agree with you. I mean, I think the strategy from Celestial Being, that early lead they were able to grab on Cape Blanc Observatory, I give a lot of credit to the Welkin. Just willing to, you know what, hey guys, let's just go for it on the cap, trying and trying and trying. And, you know, one little bit of damage fails to come through. You have that phalanx of shield set up just right. Damage can't stop the cap. And Celestial Being, I think you got to give them credit for willing to just risk it, for not being scared, seizing the chance to win.
8 million repair. Am I reading that right? No.
800,000.
800,000. Yeah, 800,000. Whew. I saw the 8 and was like, no way, actually. I mean, that is a lot. And it's telling that on both teams, in a map where we were constantly team fighting, that it's the Luminae on both sides that are standing out above their teammates.
Honestly, this was a really close map.
Yeah.
You know, I think that you got to give credit to EVA. It's a good map to go out on because they fought hard, they fought well. But Celestial being were the stronger team, front to back in this series. A few of these maps were difficult, were close, were hard fought. I mean, think about the Graceless Sky City. That was, both teams were very cautious, very trepidatious coming into the series. But by the end, it felt Celestial being had picked up that momentum, had started to gain confidence that they were the team that deserves to be in the grand finals. They are the team that deserves to represent China.
And we really saw the tipping point on Eye of Mizra, because the start of that actually looked really good for EVA, and just a little while later, whether it be CB locking it in and figuring out what worked for them, or EVA losing their cool, it's hard to say which when we're looking from the outside. It could have even been both, but there was a tipping point in the middle of that game, because while the next map was hard fought, it was also decidedly CB favored.
Yeah, Manbu had a really impressive game there on the Aquila. A lot of opening pickoffs, 7 kills. Pretty massive on Cape Blanc Observatory, when a lot of times it's those kills that open up the team fights for your squad to capture objectives, for someone like Illuminate to slip in and grab the cap. It's because the enemy team is just down strikers. They don't have the damage to prevent it.
Yeah, there's a reason why we saw Manbu's Aquila banned so often. This is still a player that I'd be looking out for once we get into the next series as well. Manbu's got a lot of responsibility to shoulder some damage on the side of CB. Huge props to Veda as well, though. Veda's Inferno was crushing it, especially in the last 2 maps on Eye of Mizra and when we went here to Cape Blanc Observatory. And the Sky Raider flex for a typical DPS player is actually, I mean, that's really, really important to have. Knowing that you have a player as flexible as Veda, who can play Alicines, who can play Sky Raider, and who can play Inferno is a huge multi-tool to have when going into a Grand Finals.
Team Celestial being, I think they're well set up to go into this grand final. They've got a diverse panoply of strategies. They've been playing the super heavy tanking setup. They've been able to play wider maps with the Aquila, the Inferno. They're the team that maybe could give Team Anubis a run for their money. That being said, I agree. I think Team Anubis, they are the team to beat here.
Yeah.
They are the clear favorites in the tournament, still undefeated, have made no errors. But David versus Goliath, I mean, you still got to give Celestial being a serious shot coming in so hot after that last series.
No surprise to anyone, especially if you looked at the last
4
screen.
dismantles.
That is
huge.
Yeah, I am amazed, but not after looking at the stats screen. I think this is just the mark of an incredibly powerful Luminae player, and this is going to be another matchup, another player to keep our eyes on, because it's not like Team Anubis are going into this blind, nor should you be going into it as CB. I think you have to look at this and go, this is our most important player. How are we going to make sure that Ann stays alive? Because as mobile as Luminae is,